Hey Dreamers, it's Jade and I'm back to discuss the Season 8 Episode 2 of Game of Thrones. A Night of the Seven Kingdoms. I loved it. There were so many moments in this episode that I loved that I can't limit myself to just 5. So let's try to get through them quickly so this video is not super ridiculously long. First, I'd like to say if you like this content, consider subscribing, liking, sharing, and hit the bell icon to get the notifications of when I post. Usually that's Mondays and Fridays. You may get a bonus every now and again. Um, so yeah, let's jump right into it. A Night of the Seven Kingdoms. First and foremost, Jaime is back in Winterfell for the first time since the first time when he pushed Bran out that window, and he's basically kind of facing a tribunal. Dany is giving him the business because, of course, he was the man that killed her father, the Mad King Aerys, and though he probably deserved it, that was still her dad. Um, and so, of course, that's how he got the name the Kingslayer. That's how his reputation pretty much got besmirched because he was a king's guard, sworn an oath to protect his king, and he was the one that killed the king. So yeah, once that happened, his reputation throughout the Seven Kingdoms and Westeros was just kind of never the same. Even though he was a great fighter, people really didn't take him seriously because they knew he was an oath breaker. Now, so like I said, Dany is giving him the business, and then Sansa like starts giving him the business too. Now, in the midst of this, Brienne actually steps up and steps in for him and defends him and lets Sansa know, yeah, I know he's done these horrible things, but had it not been for Jaime, I would not have been able to keep my oath to your mother to, look after you and your sister, and also that he had fulfilled his oath to Catelyn as well to find her daughters and make sure they were safe and yada yada yada. And this moment to me is significant because number one, I feel like Jaime and Brienne are both a little bit in love with each other and just don't realize it. Or I feel like maybe they realize it and neither one of them know what to do with it because they've never had a pure love before. Like Jaime's love with his sister is just something totally crazy. And Brienne has always been put down by men because she's is not a traditional type of woman. Anywho, so Brienne, who is known for her integrity, known to keep her oaths, very staunch and loyal, who is pretty much one of the only characters in this show who has stayed the course completely, who has kept her promises. She promised to kill, get Renly, to get revenge for Renly. She did that. She promised to find Catelyn's daughters, keep them safe. She did that. You know what I'm saying? Like she has done what she set out to do throughout the course of this. Whereas other people, they had these goals and then they got sidetracked. Just no. Anyway, so I think it was very important that she stepped up for Jaime, and it was kind of like a validation and a little bit of redemption for him to be acknowledged by somebody who is so loyal and dedicated to keeping their promises, because for so long he had been known as the Kingslayer, and so this kind of seemed like a bit of redemption for him, at least in the eyes of himself and Brienne. So I just thought that was important. Next, that whole little episode with Dany and Sansa. Pretty much at every turn, Sansa is either undermining or rebuffing Dany. Like, she is just really not here for all of I am the queen of the Seven Kingdoms and yada yada. She's not here for that, okay? And so Dany decides she wants to have a chat with Sansa to maybe hopefully bond over their mutual love for her brother. And it starts out actually pretty okay. They kind of seem to understand each other a little bit. And then Sansa asks, okay, we defeat the Night King, you defeat your enemies, you take the Iron Throne, what happens to the North? And Dany is like, I'm sorry. She's like, what happens to the North? We've just gotten back rulership of ourselves. So what happens to the North? And Danny understands the implications of the questions that Sansa is asking, and she is not here for it. But let's think about this. I kind of agree with Sansa. Like, the North has been through so much. They marched south with Robb to join the War of the Five Kings. Some of them came back. Their homes were taken, people ravaged, homes burnt. I mean, it was a mess, and then they end up having to fight in and amongst themselves. Other Northerners, they're fighting to get their homes back and things of that nature. So they're kind of back in a stable environment, ruling themselves once again. Very suspicious of outsiders. Why would they want to give that rule back up again, all over again? Why would they want to do that? Knowing and understanding the horrible, tragic things that they've all gone through in the past few years. I get it. Loved that scene. It was a great scene. Miss and Die and Grey Worm. Oh my God. These two are the most adorable thing ever in this whole series. I love them too. And so Grey Worm approaches Miss and Die and asks her, and I feel a little bad for them because they are in this strange land they've never been to before, and I feel like they are, the Northerners themselves are already suspicious of outsiders, period. I get that, but I feel like Grey Worm and Miss and Die are getting a little more rebuffed, and they basically they are being treated as the other, kind of the same way the others are treated in the real world. Just not very nice at all. I mean, poor Miss and Die, she just tried to say hello and got completely shut down. So Grey Worm approaches her and tells her, look, I'm dedicated to helping Dany fight her enemies and get her Iron Throne. But once that's done, like, do you want to go somewhere? We should probably get out of here. This place is not for us. This land is not for us. And Miss and Die is like, yes, I would love to go back to the Isle of North. And that was the place that she was born and stolen from and forced into slavery when she was a young girl. So she wants to go back. And yes, the Isle of North is full of peaceful people. So they don't really know war and things of that nature. And she's like, but my people are peaceful people, and we, I don't know about protection. And Grey Worm, he's so cute. He's like, well, my people are not, so we got you on that protection. And so they make plans to once everything is done and settled and yada yada yada, they are making future plans to get out of there and have a life together. And I love it because out of all the characters in this episode, these two are the only ones, it seems, that are making future plans. The only ones that seem to be holding out hope that everything will be okay, that they're going to survive, and that they're going to make it through this war with the dead. So that was nice to see, just that small bit of hope when everybody else just seems so bleak about it. So let's move on. Oh, love this. You guys, I thought they were going to try to cut Ghost out this whole season again, and I was going to be mad because they completely cut him out last season. You did not see Ghost at all last season. Talking about budget. I'm like, come on now. Everybody and their mama watch Game of Thrones. Y'all, if y'all got budgets for 3 dragons, you got budget for a direwolf. You know what I'm saying? So anyway, Ghost made his appearance on top of the castle with Jon and Sam and Ed, and it was kind of like a reunion of the Night's Watch, of course, because when Ed joins him, he's like, and now our watch begins. And to me, it was just a heartwarming moment. It was like full circle. So you just get to see the 3 brothers together again, preparing again for battle. And of course, Ghost was always there in the midst of that, helping them with these type of situations. So yeah, I was here for it, and I was just so happy to see Ghost back because I love the dire wolves in this show. It hurt my heart every time one of them passed away. I mean, so all right, this part probably was my favorite scene of the whole episode. Tormund and his a story about the giant's milk. He seemed to be in a little bit of a one-sided pissing match with Jaime Lannister for the affections of Brienne, because y'all know Tormund loved him some Brienne. And so he decides to tell this ridiculous story of how he killed a giant when he was 10 years old and climbed into bed with the giant's wife. And he's like, and you know what happened after that? He was like, she suckled me for, I think, like 3 weeks or however long. And he's like, and that's how I became so strong. And that's why they call me Giant's Bane. And he's like just drinking, I'm assuming it's giant's milk, out of this horn. Y'all, I was in there cracking up. I love Tormund Giantsbane. You can always count on him to to bring a little humor, a little levity. I think that's the word. I think that's the right word to any situation. So completely loved that scene right there. So thank you for the humor, Tormund, because it was getting a little heavy. Let's see, Arya and Gendry. Oh my God, this was a long time coming. Arya has never been the traditional girl. Of course, we all know that. Arya has never dreamed of the fairy tale life and living in the castle with her husband and having. That is not Arya, okay? However, when she met Gendry, there was something between the two. There always was. There was always some kind of underlying attraction or connection that the two had. And so I was just this to me was inevitable. It was going to happen eventually. Now Arya was a little girl, so it was still to me a little awkward the way that it happened, but I knew it was going to happen. And you know, she's grown now, so I get it. Loved it. I'm glad those two finally did the do, because it was inevitable, like I said. So love that moment there between Arya and Gendry. And let's see. One of the greatest scenes of the night. And of course, the scene that the whole episode is based off of, because it's called The Night of the Seven Kingdoms. And Brienne, who has been a very staunch and loyal knight throughout the whole series, is finally officially knighted by Jaime Lannister. That couldn't have been more perfect, because like I said before, I personally think that they're both a little bit in love with each other. And it's finally an acknowledgement of her contributions throughout this show, and to people that she has been loyal to. So I just, it was so heartwarming, warming. I absolutely adored this scene. It was long overdue. She had been a knight, in everybody else's eyes, people who were viewing this show, she had been a knight. So it was nice for her now to have her moment of acknowledgement and validation. So Sir Brienne, a Knight of the Seven Kingdoms, I loved it. Okay, let's see. We're getting down to the end here. Looking at my notes. Okay, yeah. In. Almost lastly, we find Jon in the crypt staring at the statue of Lyanna Stark. And of course, by now we all know that that is his mom. And it's so heartbreaking that he never got to know his mom. And of course, Dany finds him in the crypts. And he had been being really short with her the whole episode. And so they finally get to talking, and he reveals the truth to her. And when I tell you, I had goosebumps again. This whole episode, not the whole episode, this whole scene where he's telling her the truth of his parentage, and how, because she's like, oh, I couldn't, I've heard all great things about my brother Rhaegar, so it's just weird to me that he would kidnap and rape your aunt. And he was like, that's not what happened. And he was like, they were actually in love with each other, they were married. And he gave her the true story of how when Rhaegar fell on the trident, Lyanna was actually giving birth to their son, whom she knew would be killed if Robert knew. So she gave him, see, I got goosebumps now just even talking about it. She gave him to her brother to raise as his bastard son. And he reveals that, yes, he is that child, Aegon Targaryen, and again, Danny realizes the implications of this and realizes that Jon has a legitimate and valid claim to the throne, wants to know where he got his information, and is basically incredulous. But unfortunately, they do not get to finish his conversation because the horn sounds 3 times, which is, of course, the indication of White Walkers. And then the ending scene is we see the White Walkers and their army of the dead lined up outside of Winterfell's walls. So it's about to go down in the next episode, guys. I cannot wait to see this battle. Who's gonna make it out? I think the battle's probably gonna end up lasting more than one episode, though. So we shall see how it all goes. I am just here for it. Um, when I was watching it with my cousin, and she's a huge Danny fan, and she was like, "Well, I think she took that well," and I was like, "You did?" I was like, I don't think so. I don't think Danny took that news well at all, but okay. Anyway, so we shall see how it all turns out, guys. Let's hope somebody we love survives this thing, because you know George gives zero damns and he will kill everybody and hurt everybody's feelings. So let's see how it goes. That's it for this quick little rundown. If you guys have any comments or questions about anything, definitely leave those below. And I will get back to you as soon as possible. You guys, let me know how you're enjoying this season so far. Let me know what you think about all the events going on. Like, I am here for it. I'm here for it. I love it. So, yeah, that's it, guys. I will catch you in the next video. Thanks for watching. Bye.